I definitely said no sunglasses. Just because that one guy complimented you on them, they do look nice though.
Thank you.
That haircut.
What's up, everybody? I'm Levi.
I'm B.
I'm just
And this is Building with the Browers.
and this is Building with the Browers. Lots been going on.
Mm-hmm.
A lot has
A
been
lot.
going
Yeah.
on. We took a scheduled break, if you want one, during the holiday season, and then the holiday season carried on until April.
Yeah. Well, due to the adjustments that we're going to be talking about, I would like to call the period of time from the last episode to this episode more of like when you push the brakes really hard on something and then you got to skid and then you come back.
U-turn?
There we go. More like drifting.
A drift U-turn.
A
Got
drift
it.
U-turn.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, so
but a U-turn also means that you're going.
in a different direction.
Oh yeah, you're right. Not the same direction because then that would be.
That would be one. Yeah, that would be a 360
There you
degree
go.
turn.
Good thing I have you.
I'm here for you.
Well, we're gonna keep teasing what we got going on, or we're gonna get into it.
Yeah, talking about a different direction. We have been holding our tongues until we could formally announce it, and this is the formal announcement. But we are leaving Houston, Texas.
Yep.
We'll be back
Multiple times.
but we are leaving and relocating to Alaska to be closer to our older boys, Lincoln and Liam. It's better to say that Alaska is the destination because we do have a long journey to get there.
Yeah.
Talk about the journey a little bit, babe.
Yeah, I mean, we are going to be on a very long journey. No, we are going to be, the ultimate goal is Alaska. But on the way up to Alaska, we're going to be highlighting and connecting with other veteran-owned businesses and hosting events just like we did 2 weeks ago in Houston, our port in position. We're going to find our way in Utah. Levi and I have been asked to curate and create a networking room for
And co-host.
And co-host a, what is it called? Not a recreational, excuse me. I'm completely,
Retreat.
Thank you. A retreat up in Utah. So you'll see us up in Utah. We're going to be everywhere. We're going to be everywhere. And we're doing it this time, not on our Volkswagen Atlas like last year.
Nope. So yeah, we have a lot of changes. So it kind of stemmed from, we knew that, so our goal was always July of 2027, we'd be put in our position to where we could relocate. And the idea behind that was Lincoln would be getting into his junior year of high school. And we wanted to make sure that we could catch the last 2 years of his high school wrestling, wrestling at a high level. Their summer vacations went from, 9-10 weeks, being cut down to just a few weeks so they could go and pursue the dream of wrestling. And they left. That was another reason they were here for Christmas time. They were here until almost the end of January.
Yeah, 5 weeks.
5 weeks. And when they left, probably more so than it has before, really hit you in a different way.
Yeah, home just didn't feel like home anymore. And that's really hard to say because with you and Rox being there, like you guys are my home, but like the quiet of the house, and there's 100% chance I'll probably get emotional like while we're talking about this because I love those boys so much, but like the quiet of the house was like, it was deafening. And it was the first year that Rox looked at me and he goes, "Mommy, I just don't want to play by myself in my room." And it was because his brothers had left a couple days prior. And so it really, that paired with that trip that we took during the summer, I think this year collectively we spent more time with the boys in our home and like under our care than we had ever since being married. And so,
well, and that was the big thing. We sat there and it was crazy. So we were listening to Elevate Church. Pastor's name, help me out here.
Stephen Furtick.
Stephen Furtick. And he was speaking, his sermon was based on waiting or fear being disguised as waiting. And not waiting is also being obedient, right? God will very easily shut a door if you're moving too fast, but he's not going to open a door and push you through it. Like you still have to move. And we had been struggling with the boys being gone, and we had, the roofing company started kind of slow. We were launching Building with the Browers. Our consulting business was starting to do well. Our curated events was doing really well. And Lincoln really just asked a point blank question. He's like, hey, like, we didn't have anything huge in our pipeline on the roofing side to where it takes our time to be in person. We had told the boys that we weren't going to be doing any special trips this summer. It was going to be them coming in, hanging out the house, really just enjoying some quality time because we wanted to be able to save money and prep for this move in 2027. Mm-hmm. And I remember us sitting on the couch and looking over, and I was like, babe, I think we need to move. Like, I think we need to go to Alaska. Mm-hmm. And it was almost like there wasn't even any thought on your end. You're like, okay, let's do it. Let's figure it out. And it was just like, cool, this is what we're doing. I'm not sure how we're going to do it yet, right? And that's where we go and we talk about Alaska's the destination, right? And we promised the boys, we called them that night, and you're like, do not tell anybody. I was like, Roger that.
It's not that I don't believe in us, because I mean, if you hang around me long enough, then you know that I will say, if I'm going to bet on anybody to do anything, it's going to be you and I more so was just like, I didn't want to let them down and hype them up that we were going to be there. And then it was going to be like, oh, well, we changed our mind, not because we couldn't make it, but because life got in the way. Like another huge contract came through, or we just decided it was better for us to stick around, you know?
This has definitely pushed us to where we've had to step away from certain opportunities, mm-hmm. right? We've had our bandwidth is fixed just like everybody else's. Yeah. I like to say we probably have a little bit more bandwidth, but it's still fixed. Mm-hmm. But I did. I was like, yeah, Roger that, and picked up the phone and called because I was on the opposite side. I wanted to be.
You want to have no reason.
I didn't want to have a reason. I didn't want to have an out.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, they don't know about it. Like, hey, this is what we're doing. We promised the boys that we'd start the journey. Mm-hmm. Like, we're going to be up there well before July of 2027. We're not sure how we're going to get up there. We had to sell all of everything in our home, sell all of our furniture, sell 3 vehicles, buy a bigger truck, get an RV, which should be done this week, and really start prepping for this. But the journey getting up there was kind of really undefined. Mm-hmm. Now it's not.
Yeah.
You know, that paired with, and it's so funny because we used to talk, we've been doing this, we got involved really in the community, on the veteran community here in Houston about a little over 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. Right? Up until that point, it was just grind it out. Sell houses, sell roofs.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sell houses, sell roofs, have margaritas, have fun. But then about 2 years ago, we started getting involved. We took over the networking events. You stepped in as the event director. I came in as the membership director. Now we're both sitting on the leadership council for the Houston Regional's Veterans Chamber. But through that, we started realizing there's this huge need inside the community that hasn't been filled or hasn't been done a very good job at being filled. And we had this idea of like, we have to build an ecosystem first so we can go out and leverage that later on. Like, mm-hmm. I'm unapologetically me in the sense of like, at the end of the day, we're still business owners. Like, right. Yes, if you're in our ecosystem at some point, you're either going, I want you to do business with me, or I want you to push people to do business with me. Right. But we also provide the same thing, right? For the other people that we're partnered with. And so through that, I think we decided that in February mm-hmm. when we were going to leave.
Yeah.
And it's middle of April right now. But through those 2 months, we have signed partnerships with the Dock Line, mm-hmm. where we're sitting at right now, which is a Magnolia, Montgomery County-based magazine that's going to be distributing. Thank you. Distributing our content across their 250,000 readers every month, mm-hmm. right? Then we talk about the event we ran and we met Blue Bolt Bourbon mm-hmm. and how they want to sponsor our pop-up events as we go into new cities. Mm-hmm. And then Whiskey Valor Foundation, Responsible Drinking, VBB, the Veteran Business Battle, and the relationships with there. Like, we realize that there is this ecosystem that we put in place. Yeah. We built all the bridges between them, but we just hadn't really started leveraging it. And so the journey, long story short, the journey is that Forged in Business Veteran Entrepreneur Spotlight Series as we go into these new cities and new states and highlight what that community is doing for its, or what the veterans inside that community are doing for its community.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like we've done a really good job inside of Houston. And I'm really excited to see what we can bring nationwide. I mean, I had a conversation with Joe Palacios a couple of weeks back where it feels really nice, right, to have the recognition of people giving you the attaboy and saying, yeah, good job what you're doing, the surface level. But when you start having conversations with these people that have been hard charging within the Houston veteran community for a really long time, saying to you, like, I'm actually seeing movement with the things that you're doing. I'm actually seeing change with the thing that you're doing. You're getting me excited to get out of my house and be around people, to be present at these events or to be present at the things that you guys are putting together. That means the world to me. And if we can do it in Houston, man, I feel like we can do it wherever we go, you know? And so it's the, like you said, the connections that we've made nationwide. I mean, one of the things I'm the most excited for is to be working alongside Eric Burgos, my LPO at the lowest point of my life. At the lowest point in my life, when I was literally transitioning out of the military, he was my LPO because I was LIMDU.
Oh, it's LPO?
My leading petty officer.
Okay.
But this is a military podcast. You know, people are going to know what that is. But Navy.
Army,
Your Army. That's true. But he was my LPO at the lowest point in my life. And now we have been asked to curate a networking room, you know, and host and co-host and potentially be part of these breakout sessions for a 3-day retreat up in Utah. Like, what? It's amazing, you know, because there's such a need. There's such a need for
you know, the differentiating factor, right? You said there's such a need. I think that was our biggest hesitation, right? Is give a shout out to my best friend here, is when Lou invited us to that first networking event. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't my friend yet. I hadn't even met him. I had pushed off our meetings with this dude, and he wanted us to come to this thing, and so excited for it. And then we get there, and it wasn't terrible. It was just not our cup of tea, right? I don't like.
You're so nice. It was terrible.
I don't like networking events.
Yeah.
Like, I actually despise, hello, my name's Levi. I own a roofing company, and my ideal client is somebody that has a roof. Like,
business card.
Yeah, it's just like, it works for some folks. Yeah. I don't think it works for many, because you don't have an opportunity to really create a relationship with that person quickly. Yeah. Right? And so it's creating or curating an opportunity for people to really not only rub elbows, but to, like, talk about talk about the things that they've been struggling with, to get vulnerable. I mean, there's been so many rooms or so many of these mini masterminds that we ran as we grew this, where people were crying, right, in front of people they've never even met before. There's people wondering if there's people saying stupid shit too.
Yes, there is.
But it's been so cool to kind of see unfold. And then, like you said, being able to pick that up and go do it in other places, right? Like, when you say people are getting excited, because it's different. Yeah. It's a different way. Like, if you're going to spend time in a room to curate business for yourself, you should better go into that room with a fucking plan. Yeah, prepared. Right? And it's not, I want to go and pitch 5 people. It's what type of conversations you're going to have, how you're going to stand out in that room, what's going to make you look curious or spark the curiosity in somebody else. Right, so they start asking you questions, and usually that just comes down with listening and asking and being inquisitive. Yeah. But seeing that transform into what we did, and now utilizing that, which we didn't think was a business idea. Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, when we went in there and I told people, hey, I'm here because I want to grow my business, and I felt like the best way to grow your business in a networking space is by leading the networking space, by creating so people, you're the center of that nucleus. When people need something, they see you because you're participating, right? If you're listening to this and you go to a networking event and you leave and you're like, I didn't leave with any deals, this networking event sucked, you're doing it wrong. If you've only gone once and you don't post about it. But there's been so many cool conversations that we had about it. It's about understanding what the ROI is when you walk into a room and how you walk out of a room. And it's always followed up by do it again. Yeah. And then do it again and do it again and do it again and do it again.
Yeah. I think that's also the hamster wheel that people get stuck on when it comes to networking events, right? Because you will also, on the other side of the coin, you will have people that show up to every single networking event and then they'll walk away from it, like you're saying that they haven't gained anything from it. Not the person that shows up one time and says F it, or do you want to cuss on our podcast?
Fuck it.
Okay. Not the Yeah, not the people that go in one time and say fuck it, but the people that are there consistently. I know, mouth of a sailor, who are there consistently, and don't gain anything from it, because there's also a strategy behind being a person that is continuously at these networking events to further your business, right? Like, everybody hears this in business, the money's in the follow-up, right? So if you keep continuously going to these networking events and you don't make those connections and you don't show up to other people's events and you don't promote the events that you're going to, we battled with champion. That. Yeah, we struggled with that. And it's something that we hone in at the events that we host, especially the ones that are repeated. I mean, for the last 2 years, every single first Wednesday of the month, you're going to find us in Conroe at Guadalajara's. And when we first started, I was at the Honor Cafe, but it was that consistent thing. And what we drove home to people was share it on your social media and bring a person, you know? And if you're not doing those things and you expect a networking group to work for you, and then you're sitting there like, I don't understand why nothing is working. That's why.
Well, everybody has to do their piece, right? Mm-hmm. Showing up again, and we've had conversations like with people running an event or running a networking event. They're like, oh, I had 5 people show up. And you're like, cool. How many times did you post about it?
Yeah. I didn't.
You know, I thought they were just going to show, like, the chamber posted about it, or the organization I'm doing it for posted about it. And it's like, cool, you're trying to bring the people that you're doing business with who should be following you on social media. You should be talking about it, why they need to be in this room, what they're going to get out of it. So they're incentivized, right? I make everybody, as they walk into the room, the first thing that we really talk about is, hey, if you came here looking for business, you're in the wrong room. If you came here looking for a conversation, relationship, you're in the right room. Yeah. And the second thing is I require people to participate if they want to show up. That's what they're signing for. If it's a free event, the only dues that you have is to participate. Whether you're volunteering or you're being voluntold, it's going to happen. Yeah. We're going to learn about each other one way or the other. Yep. What are you most excited for this trip?
On this trip?
And let me rephrase, yes, but for those that are listening, this trip's not going to be like a 3-week trip. We're talking about 6-7 months on the road, living RV style, nomad lifestyle. You know, we have a fund, like a house fund, so we have to hit a certain threshold inside that little account. Once it's there, we know that we can get the pod shipped, get a house, get a deposit, get the new furniture, the whole 9, right? Yeah. We know in a perfect world that'd be great to kill it in our business endeavors and fill that account within the first 75 days. Right. Probably will it happen? Perhaps. However,
you and me? I don't know, man.
Maybe. But the idea is, again, having a plan, cool, whenever that does happen, we have to have a routine that we're following. So we're expecting to spend the next 6-7 months on the road at a minimum. So what are you looking forward to most?
Well, I want to preface it with this. The 37-day road trip that we did last year in a Volkswagen Atlas that was weighed down.
With a puppy and a dog.
With a puppy that we had gotten just before leaving, and our dog, our Denali, and not our truck, Denali, our dog, really prepared me for this moment, right? One of the biggest things that I realized when we got back from that trip was that I can survive out of one suitcase, which is crazy. I don't know how I'm going to get rid of everything inside of my closet. I know it has to happen, but it showed me, that we have such excess, and I'm excited to get away from the excess, because it's just, we're going to have such a good time and traveling like the US. I got to travel so much outside of the U.S. when I served in the Navy, like all the deployments that I went on, and got to see Dubai and Kota Kinabalu, Malaysia. It's my favorite place to say I went.
What are you supposed to do with your hands when I'm just listening to you?
I sit like this. I'm like, but you're a man, so
I'm fidgety.
You are fidgety. It's okay. But I'm I'm messing with my stuff. Anyway, I traveled so much outside of the U.S., and then when I got out of the military in 2017, I stopped traveling. And then one of my favorite things to do with you is to road trip. From Louisiana to Utah to Colorado we saw Mount Rushmore last year. Like, we saw the Badlands. Like, I'm excited for that, right? And I can't imagine
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone
Paradise
to
Valley.
actually park inside of Yellowstone and just be able to experience like what that is at night. I'm stoked for that because one, it's going to be really cool. Like
Those roads with the truck.
I'm not excited about that.
Well, you're driving.
I am not driving. Get me a tiara, bro, because Passenger Princess is my name during that. There's no way. If I'm driving, something has happened to you, and we should all be scared. But in reality, like that's what I'm excited for. I'm excited to be able to look back on this trip and all the memories that we're creating with Rox because he's going to be the one that's with us a lot of the time because he's not, the boys are in Alaska and they'll be flying down to experience some of it with us. But I'm really excited to like raise him and travel with him and show him things that I never got to see when I was younger, all while creating this legacy for our family, and that was a huge thing for us when we took Rox out of daycare almost 2 years ago was being able to build the life that we wanted, all while being the people that raised our child.
Well, you brought that up. It was a little bit more in depth than that too, right? Is we knew when we started in real estate, you knew that it's not necessarily what you want to do for life.
Yeah.
Right. That was why it was not an easy, but it was a.
Well, Paul, I thought there was something I was going to do for life because you were supposed to be my stay-at-home dad that was running around
That's
making
true.
me food all the
That's
time.
true.
Because I was killing it. But
true.
it was yeah. No, I thought if we really think about it, I thought that.
Well, I was saying 2 years ago.
Gotcha.
You've been out of real estate for a little bit longer than 2 years.
Isn't that crazy?
I know. So back to my story.
Back to your story.
2 years ago, when we had talked about what we were trying to create, we knew, and like last year we were able to, right? When we went, we were able to kind of change our processes for our construction company and go to a digital platform to where we would be able to meet with business owners or homeowners and walk them through the steps and trust our team, that was still here.
Yeah.
But we wanted to also create something different, right? And that's where when we took over the networking, like the mini masterminds, it wasn't to create a new business.
No,
it was to further our roofing company, right?
Correct.
And our construction company and your real estate.
What better opportunity to grow our personal roofing company than to be heading a powerful networking event in Conroe? Because one of my favorite things about Montgomery County was how veteran and first responder focused
yep.
and forward that this community is.
And then from that, what stemmed from there was this realization that like we fell in love with pouring into rooms and curating not only events, but conversations between people. Yeah. So that when people came up and like, hey, what the advice you gave here, the insight or this person that you connected me with, like we've had so many people come up, whether it's Joe, whether it's Brandon, I don't know.
There's so many.
I don't know how many, like who I should say or not.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, but to where they're like, our life was changed. It was like a different trajectory. Like, even talking with Joe Palacios, like you said, like people being excited to get out of their house and do something, that was a movement that was that was solidified by the actions that we took, right? Well, like we got behind the Houston Regional Veterans Chamber's main mission and then put our thumbprint, right?
Right.
We put our thumbprint on it. But what happened from that is we realized there's a whole new business opportunity there, right? And when we started talking about like how cool would it be to be able to be nomads, to be able to shoot content, get paid, make money. And don't get me wrong, like having money's great and I want to be financially free, but like I don't have dreams to have a G7. It's just like I don't ever at this point I might later on in life, but right now, like I don't have a goal to like I want to buy a G7 in fucking 5 years.
Yeah, it's not the materialistic things that equate to richness to you. It's the freedom and it's the family
freedom.
time.
It's the freedom. Like for the last 5 years, when 5 years, when the boys come down, I've been able to take a month off. Step away from the company and really spend those 4 or 5 weeks, 6, 7 weeks uninterrupted with the kiddos for the most part, right? Yeah. And we're like, cool. How do we replicate that to where it's? But then after they leave, it's balls to the wall and up till they come back again. And so it was just like everlasting rotation. So how do we create that? And it just, God provided it.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, it was just like this environment that we put the action into it.
Yeah.
But God was closing one door and opening another, closing that door, pushing these people out of our life, bringing these people in, pushing those people out of our life,
pushing more people out of our lives,
pushing more people out of our lives.
I like to call that the season of the purge. Like it was just there was so much purging that was happening, and it's crazy. And like I'll tell this to our viewers is when you ask God to remove people from your life or to put the people in your life that are going to push you towards what you're meant to do, be prepared
listen.
Yeah, be prepared because when those moments start happening and when those people start leaving, you can't take a step back and say, well, God, like, what about this person? And what about my family? And what about this? This is the stuff that you prayed for, and you just have to continue to move forward and not allow it to completely bog you down, because as you get through that, you're going to see over the horizon and you're going to be like, oh, you're going to have that
you got to, I mean, that's where faith comes in, right?
Absolutely.
You know, and that's something that I'm still on my journey of faith, right? Getting baptized soon, super excited for it. But it is, my relationship with God has actually been more developed as I see simple things that we did in our house, like praying at dinner, right? When the boys were here.
Yeah.
And then them wanting to and starting to read the Bible and stuff like that. That's actually reinforced mine because I see it affecting other people,
right.
You know? And it was, I mean, talking about the season of the purge, I mean, there hasn't been a better season of the purge since ever. I mean, that's one of the reasons. I don't want to say it's easy, but I mean, you've purged a lot of people in your life, you know, that have been close family.
Yeah.
And when we started talking about this move, there was, other than our family, Lou, Nikki, Ryan, Ness, Ashley, the other Ryan,
there's not too many people that are stopping, like my feelings for them are stopping me from picking up and doing what we need
every
to
single
do.
person that we've told before we announced it today has said the same thing. Damn, that really sucks. Can't wait for you to do it.
Yeah. How can we help?
Right. Sucks because they're going to miss us.
Yeah.
But they knew, every single person were like, about fucking time.
Yeah.
You guys are finally doing it.
Yeah.
You guys are going to actually do it. And we're like, yeah, when? 60 days.
Got it.
You know, and so it's gone from 0 to 60 really, really quick. And we had to push our timeline by a couple weeks, but that was for the RV. But we are, and it hasn't been all rainbows and butterflies and sunshine. You know, a lot comes into it when you're
completely adjusting your course.
Yeah, when you're sunsetting and merging the company and trying to figure out how you're going to be able to service your current and your future clients on the roofing side, how we're still going to be able to launch and do the date nights, and how we're going to film content on the road, and what type of RV we want. And, you know, what we did this past summer is we never had a destination. No. You know, there was only one spot where we pre-booked, and that was in Pocatello, because there's only one fucking house that was available.
The creepy house.
Haunted
the creepy house.
Creepy haunted house. More on that in another episode. But other than that,
they'll have to be with the boys.
With the boys, yeah. Because we stayed at this house real quick. We stayed in a house in Pocatello where the whole family of 3 kids, 2 dogs, and B and I all slept in one single room.
Well, because you guys scared yourself to the point.
You're saying you guys.
Well, because I don't like scary things. Okay, I don't like scary things. I don't fuck around with that shit. So when you and the boys started, you know, trying to play jokes,
we definitely scared to the point where we both got
to where everybody was sleeping. It was me, Rox, Liam in one bed, and then
me and Lincoln on the ground with your sleeping
bags.
Yeah.
And we all slept in one room because it was almost like somebody.
We'll get into that.
Well, excuse you. It was almost like somebody picked up their grandma and put them in an assisted living house and said, "Let's Airbnb," and like left all the photos, left all her.
They were like, "Mom, come visit us for the weekend."
God, it was crazy. But yeah, like you said, it had a nice backyard and a really cool berry tree in the back. So
and it was close to the university. You know, we were there for a rest, but that was the only spot, and we were there for a week that we pre-booked. Even when we went to Sun Valley, we booked that like the day we were going. Right? We
life hack.
Yeah, life hack. If you guys are traveling, we save so much money. So we think at booking on the day of, like, we'd get into our car and we're like, how far do you want to drive?
Yeah.
I don't know, 4 or 5 hours.
The day of or the day before.
And we'd find the little tiny cities and go into Airbnb and be like, cool. We won't have to do that this year.
No.
We'll be looking for campsites and stuff. But like for me, what I'm looking forward to is kind of the routine that we fall into.
Yeah.
You and I are creatures of habit. And I think falling into this habit of this, driving at night, getting into the campsite, setting up, going to sleep, waking up. I see us being up early in the morning, starting a fire outside. If we're next to a river fishing with rocks, doing our content, doing an interview, doing some of our clarity calls or whiteboard sessions with our clients. Hiking, waterfalls. And it's just, just really, which besides the fuel and where we're staying, I mean, that's effort, right?
Yeah.
There's not, that is what we get to do. And like, I'm really excited to see it unfold. And if not, Lou and I, Vanessa, have an extra room. We'll be the next one. Or Nikki and Ryan have that extra house. So we'll be back if we need to be.
No, but it's, I don't know. I'm definitely excited. It's a change. And I think it took me about 3 weeks to really like wrap my head around the fact that we're leaving, because to be honest with you, I didn't expect, like when we sat down and we had that conversation, and I'll say this as well. I feel like we have been there has been a pulling on us to leave Houston for a while. Mm-hmm. And I say that not in the sense that we've had a bad experience, not that we haven't done well for ourselves, not that we haven't met friends that are now family. Like, I love Houston. Houston has served its purpose, but just to get back to our boys, like there is that undeniable pull. And to kind of go back to that portion of this conversation, I felt like it was really hard for not just me to recover this year, but for you to recover this year with the boys leaving.
Well, yeah, Lincoln was at the age for the last 2 years where he was embodying that teenager that just became a teenager. He's tough. Like, there wasn't this like, but he was. I mean, it was such you told me, he's like, do you hear Lincoln in his room? You know, and he had that moment to where he was just like, I'm tired of saying goodbye. Yeah. Like, I'm over it.
Both the boys, remember that conversation with Liam where he was talking to us about how confused he was. And that broke my heart. He goes, I'm so confused because I miss my mom at home and I miss my friends at home. But I love you guys so much. And I know that I'm going to miss you guys so much when I leave, but I'm just ready to be back at home. And it was just like that tugging that they have on their heart and that confusion. Like, what an amazing problem though. And I want to say, like, what an amazing problem that these kids have, that we work so well as co-parents with Katie and Colin and you and I, that the environment that we have with our boys is that they don't
get to pit us against each other.
No, they definitely don't. That's the downside for them, where it's like, well, Dad said, and she's like, no, Dad didn't say that. I just talked to Dad, you know. But it was the feeling of them being so loved by us as a collective, as, you know, Katie and Colin, you and myself, that it was everybody this year had such a hard time. And then spending the time that we did last year, like, we didn't go on that 32-day road trip or 37-day road trip, you know, we did that because that was the only way that we were going to have significant time with the boys this year. Yeah. You know, and I feel like some people may look at what we did and be like, oh, well, they took that extravagant road trip. Like, first off, it was not extravagant. Okay. It was a lot of fun. But secondly, it was out of necessity. It was like, you and I talked about this. If we stayed in Houston and saw the boys every summer and every other Christmas and flew up there to see them wrestling every once in a while, people would still look at us and think that we're great parents because we have such a good relationship with the boys and we have such a good relationship with Katie. Nobody would have faulted us for that.
No, and that really came down to it was, I'm an analytical, logical person. So we looked at it. I mean, in the 7 years that we've been together, it's been less than 7 months of actual quality time with the boys of that. And we're like, that's 84 months. Mm-hmm. So that's less than just less than 10% of the time. And that's, yes, we've done trips up there. And so like, that's a rough number. And then we're like, cool, let's fast forward over the next several years. Right.
Are we okay with that still being?
And the answer was no. And then
you said something when we were talking a couple weeks back that was like, you don't want to be, when our boys are standing up on the podium first place, or when our boys are in graduation and telling their thank yous to who they want to say thank you to, like, we don't want to be, do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I don't want to be mentioned out of obligation. Right. I know that we have a great relationship with Lincoln and Liam both, but I know that they're both destined for greatness. So is Rox.
Yeah.
And so there's going to be opportunities for them. And I want to be standing. I don't want it to be like, hey, Dad, can you fly up for this? Yeah. Right. I don't want to hear about Lincoln's first prom date or how he asked out or his first date by a phone call.
Yeah.
Right, which we did. And so I don't want to experience that again. I want to experience those hard conversations, the celebratory ones, the crying. I want to do that in person.
Yeah. The
right?
prepping, the workouts,
yeah, like, and they have more talent in their freaking pinky in wrestling than I mean, in their body, in their pinky than I do in my entire body. Right. But on mindset and things
they
like
give you a run for your money this year. That's for sure.
Well, they're only getting older and stronger. So like the mindset and like how you tackle life and like the setbacks, like I want to be there. Not only do I want to be there for that, I want to be like a major influence for that, more so than we already are. And then we did like anytime we talk to a client or anybody that we work with, it really, the first conversation we have is identifying the vision that you have, right? Fast forward 5 years, 10 years, 3 years, whatever. What's the core thing that like your life is complete? And ours always started with being closer to the boys. Yeah. Right. And the only way that was going to happen is if we fucking made it happen. Yeah. And we was it forced? Probably.
It had to be.
It had to be. It's never going to be an easy, there's never going to be, it's like having a baby. There's never going to be the perfect time.
Well, right. And if you think about this too, like look at where we have positioned ourselves within the Houston veteran community. Like we are at the point where we're about to step in to really launching some powerful things locally that required us to be there, right? Like if you really think about everything that we've been doing, all we had to do was step forward, and it was just another avenue towards greatness. I feel like when it came with building with the Browers, it was a conscientious rip and complete stop away from that, which I am now that the process is happening and like we got the truck and we're about to get our RV and all that stuff. It's happening, you know what I'm saying? But it was a conscientious decision to pivot away from something that we knew was destined for greatness because we put in the in-person legwork. Now this is just taking what we've done.
It's evolving.
And yeah, exactly. Evolving into what works for our life while still leaving our imprint on Houston.
That was an awkward silence. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So what would you say people that are following along, why should they continue to listen? What are they going to get out of, obviously we have the Forging business to put together. There's so many avenues, right? This podcast is changing a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And we have several series and avenues into this, right? We have our Building with the Browers, or the Browers table, which is what we're kind of doing right now. It's just you and I and the boys. We'll have the Built Together, which other entrepreneurs or clients of ours that we want to sit down and have meaningful conversations. Couples that are doing business together. We have the Forging business for the veteran side. So
Mother first builder always,
the aligned operators. And so like there's a lot of dynamic and ebb and flow, I guess you would say. How would you, somebody's listening right now, one, why would they continue to listen, and what can they gain from listening?
Oh, you didn't prep me for that question. That's a great question. One, like you said, there's definitely been some adjustments. I think the people that have originally tuned into Building with the Browers were here because they enjoy the dynamic that you and I have when it comes to talking about business and talking about life, because we talk, not only do we talk about business, we talk about the super complicated relationships that we've gone through with other people when it comes to family members, when it comes to friends. We talk about enemies, just kidding. We talk and being a parent and all that stuff, right? Like that's still going to be here. But now I feel like this is also turning into a podcast where people can really learn some beneficial, just
gold nuggets.
Yeah, thank you, golden nuggets. I
got you.
Think what I'm trying to say here, but really learning.
Just follow the script.
Oops, I missed that script. but following along to learn about how other couples are doing it. The way that Levi and I do some things, people might listen and be like, I'm not going to do it that way. But I would love to bring the fact that we're bringing other couples that run businesses with each other, because not only is our viewers and our listeners going to learn from them, I'm sure along the way you and I are going to pick up, habits and gold nuggets from other couples as well who are walking through a very similar path that we are. RV may not be included, but the building of the businesses and juggling parenthood and being husband and wife and, CEO and COO.
So would you say, especially with those doing business together, that doesn't mean owning a business together.
No.
You could be married to somebody that owns a business, and you have just as much, or that business has just as much influence on your life,
Absolutely.
even though you don't have anything to do with it.
Absolutely.
I mean, for a while, you and I we were running separate businesses.
Yeah, I
we
was doing real estate. You were doing roofing.
Correct. And so but it still had our roles at home. We had to understand how to go through those and how to talk about them, how to hand off duties, how to do handoffs for business.
Yeah. How to not allow business to creep into our relationship.
Well, I mean, think about that. I mean, we just had a conversation recently with somebody that was talking about the dynamic between him and his wife, and how it's sometimes it's frustrating because, one of them gets a little knife handy, right? And
intense. He said he was intense.
Yeah, one of them gets intense, and that also sometimes carries over to in front of their team on the business side, or in front of their kids.
Yeah,
that's, I think, something that you and I do really, really well, better than most. Is, and you said this about me when I was just working roofing. You never knew when I had a bad day.
Yeah.
Right. The boys are a little bit different now because we're honest. If we have a bad day or we're in a bad season, the kids know about it. I mean, Rox doesn't, but our older boys know about it.
Yeah.
So they're aware of what's going on because it's life. It's true. We're not going to shield that from them. Mm-hmm. Some do, and there might be merit based in that. We just haven't seen the merit in that. That was kind of hard for you to understand sometimes when we first got on. It's why are you having that conversation with a 12-year-old?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there was, and I'll even say this too, we're really good at it now. It didn't take us very long to get there, but I was, when we were talking about helping other couples and coaching other couples and stuff like that, I felt like there was a consistent problem because I didn't feel like I could teach other people how to have this dynamic because I was the sticking point when you and I first got together. Yeah, well, I was. I was a sticking point because I had to learn, because sometimes there would be situations when we first got together. And not when we first got together, but when business really started taking a forefront and we got serious about what we were doing, to where I had to teach myself to not allow business things to bleed into our marriage and our relationship. Or I had to put on, and we call it our work mode, and we have the 5 rhythms and everything that we share with our entrepreneur couples. But I had to really learn the work mode to be okay, this is a conversation about work. This conversation about work, albeit hard and difficult, can't make its way into when we are done with this conversation and we're cooking dinner with each other, because then that just creates a really toxic environment. But it was a learned habit, and but
it was also on the other side of that understanding. You still have to have certain, and you kind of taught me this. I'm very direct, blunt, quick. I want to get a point across, and I want to move, and I want to go execute. I don't want to focus on necessarily the tonality of how we're saying things. When not even stressed, when we're busy, I'm we do. Even when we're living the RV on a road trip, if it was time to pack up and get the car packed, it was a sad thing. Mm-hmm. It was cool. It's not time for joking. It's not. We all have our duties. Let's get the car packed up, and we'll be happy once we get in. Dad's not hot, and we have AC going. But it was also understanding if I have to also check myself, you know what I mean? And so when we would have business conversations, being able to, you're hey, hold on, time out. I don't like that. You're being too short. You're being too abrupt, or the case is I could sit there and have an argument with you of well, no, this is what it needs to happen or we could figure out a dynamic that works for both of us, right? Because at the end of the day, that's really what matters. We can have the most successful business, but if we got home and everything's shit, then it sucks.
For nothing. Well, I'm gonna bring up yesterday when we talk about.
That's so funny. I was just thinking about it.
When we talk about intention, and that's something that you and I have perfected, and I feel completely dead stopped. So arguments that could have happened for no reason, right? And it was yesterday when we were having a conversation, and I felt stupid in that conversation. And for me, I felt you were making me feel stupid, which is, when you even say it out loud, it kind of sounds funny, right? Because 1, I know you don't think that I'm stupid, and 2, we bring it back to what you said was, hey, let's go back to intention.
And you were feeling, because I was asking a lot of questions, And it was one question after, it was a rapid fire question session. It was like, cool, we just established what we're talking about. I have a bunch of inquisitive questions. That's how my mind works. Mm-hmm. So I want to preface that.
Well, and but I was getting defensive, and you had asked me, you're like, man, I feel like I'm upsetting you. Like, I'm not trying to upset you. And I was like, well, yeah, because you're making me feel dumb right now. And pretty quickly that conversation flipped to where you're like, well, what was my intention? Like, my intention wasn't for this. My intention was I'm just trying to ask questions for that. And it was, and you laugh, right? Because it was really funny. We said, I was like, yeah, you're right. You apologized. So you're like, I'm sorry that I made you feel that way. That wasn't my intention. And like 5 minutes later, I kind of walked up to you and I was like, I'm sorry.
But it was like, one, you're my wife, first and foremost, before being a business partner. So like, if there's something I can change so you don't feel that way, cool. It might be a simple thing. Sometimes that's just maybe you're looking at it the wrong way, or you're being too sensitive, and sometimes it's just maybe I'm being an asshole, or I'm being too blunt for the situation. Yesterday it wasn't one of those days. It was the opposite. I was like, hold on, time out. I'm asking questions so I don't feel dumb. The only way I can fully understand something is I ask and it irritates a lot of people. And I know that, you know that. Like, I ask very inquisitive questions to the point so we can kind of find the friction in the plan or the hole in the plan. Then
Swiss cheese guy. Yeah,
I'm the Swiss cheese guy. I'm going to poke holes in the plan, but then I'm going to stop, and then we're going to focus more effort on fixing that or coming up with the plan that doesn't have as many holes in it.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, you're making me feel stupid. I'm like, well, one, I don't want to make you feel that, but I don't think I ever approach a conversation where I'm like, let me make Brianna feel stupid.
Yeah.
And it was a quick turnaround.
Yeah.
And then you walk up and you're like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, and the deeper foundation to that too is like, I know that you don't think that I'm stupid. Do you ever try to make me feel stupid? Do you ever make me try to say things so then you can reflect upon how stupid I was at that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that that's not, and the reason why we have that foundation, because I was not raised with that foundation. My reflex when it comes to things like that is, well, that you're trying to make me feel stupid, because that's what I was raised with.
Yeah.
To where when you are being questioned like that, the goal of the person questioning you in that manner is for you to realize how dumb you are, you know? And
it's really funny because usually when we meet people that don't know us or they've just getting to know us, they're like, man, she really calmed you down. Or she, like, it must be really nice to have Brianna that helps, like, communicate through these situations and whatnot. And I'm like,
took time. That took time. Well, because the fun and wonderful thing about me is being raised as a pastor's daughter, right, is that I have the ability to be okay. And it's a benefit and it's a detriment to me as a person, because like, if whenever anything has ever been wrong with me my whole entire life, I am on the outside put together, and you would never know until not anymore, but until I would crash and burn, until I would get to the point to where I could no longer hold up that facade, and what you saw when that facade was gone was completely broken. And it was, one, I'm so happy to be past that, but two, was the foundation that you and I had set, and you continually showing up as the husband and the best friend that I needed to be able to be like, I think so highly of you. I think that you are you tell me this all the time, and it makes me smile every single time. You think I'm one of the smartest women that you've ever met, that you think I'm, you speak so highly of me, and you have continuously showed up as a man that you say that you are, that the foundation that we have now is no longer. And sometimes it's the knee jerk, and that's why I came up to you and I was like, I'm so sorry. 'Cause I know that's not ever the intention between you and I, but it was a lot of healing and a lot of behind the scenes work that people didn't realize how broken and hurt and I don't want to say damaged, but just like how much I had gone through it, until you got to see the behind the scenes, which shout out to you for staying with me, because it was crazy. It was just, I was a little unhinged, but like, that healing has come from you and I working with each other. And that's why we run businesses so well, because that foundation, and we say it all starts at home. We did the work the first 3 years that you and I were together to be like, this is what we want. This is what I want our marriage and like our clients. What's your vision? What's not just your vision with your business, but what's your vision in your relationship? How do you want these conversations to go with your significant other if X, Y, and Z pops up? How do you need to be spoken to? How do you need to handle those things? And it's the willingness of the other person to step up and to be able to provide that environment for you to, and sometimes
and providing that environment doesn't mean catering to it all the times, right?
That's good. Yeah.
It is understanding like, hey, at the end of that conversation, it's harder when you're married and you have kids and stuff, but if you're dating someone, having the conversation of what you want out of a relationship takes way more than just love.
Yeah.
Right? It is an active participation day in and day out, right? To my godparents, right? Larry and Tamara, give 90, expect 10. But that is stemmed, like, there might be people out there that are just forcing something, and they have that conversation, and it's like, well, for you and I, when we had that conversation, you're like, hey, I want to have a kid. And it was before Rocks. And I was like, I'm not saying no, but I'm undecided. I'm unknown. And that could have been a deal breaker for you. That doesn't mean you love me less or I'm less of a person and you're less of a person. That just means like, hey, your long-term vision is not coinciding with mine.
Right.
Right. Now you did take a chance and you're okay with a maybe, and it turned out, and then we have another maybe baby.
We don't have another maybe baby, but there could be another maybe baby.
Correct. So that, that's having those conversations, because the way we looked at it is I felt like I failed at my first marriage horrifically. Right. And that's 100% on me. But when we listen to people now that are kind of in a similar space, they're always talking about, is your relationship broken, or our relationship got broken, and before it imploded, we fixed this and this. But we kind of really had the foresight to do that from the get-go. We understood that stress fractures in a relation, or issues in a relationship, start off as stress fractures, and over time, those will turn into bigger breaks and lead into great divides. And so our systems that we implemented was when we were fucking poor.
Yeah.
When I was living not in our motorhome, and my old boss's motorhome, or in the loft apartment, no windows, right? And so when I asked you the question, who's this for? This is a perfect segue to circle back to that as we end this. This is for anybody that wants to understand, one, it's always going to be ugly, but on the other side of ugly, there's always something really beautiful that can come from that, right? You just have to give it time. But if you want to see in real life of somebody that, because over the last 7 years, the growth that you and I've had has been astonishing, right? Especially in my life, and the people that having the boys enter into our lives again. Right? There was a 2-year period I'd seen them a handful of days, because I had a lot of prioritization growing up to do. For you, was the things that you had to get through emotionally and mentally, and the trauma that you had been through. But once we got onto the other side of that, now it's cool, come experience this really awesome life that we put intention of building 3, 4, 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And now it's a reality, and come see it in real life. Yeah. Right. Come, and people see it all the time. Our friends, family, even when we host parties, they're like, oh my God, you and B didn't even say anything to each other. I'm like, yeah, no, we're going to be riding home today. Yeah. Right. And we'll get in the car, and you'll tell me all about the conversations you had, and all that conversation I had, and we'll walk by each other, give our,
and go talk to
ass
this
slap or a kiss real quick. But it's go and run the room. People are there's people that don't run rooms like that. And it's just that is our superpower. And we want to highlight that, but also elevate and inspire people all around that are listening to it to be able to look over at their spouse and be like, hey, there's probably some fucking conversations we should have. I mean, there was a time in our lives where we had our bylaws, no name calling, no raising voices, stupid shit.
And it seemed silly, right? But it was those were our rules.
It was our rules, the way we fought, and we had a fucking in a frame on our wall. And I still remember both of us pointing to it hold on, time out. We're in the middle of...
We said right here.
We said right fucking here. We're not saying these things, right? Mm-hmm. And it's that turned into our goal setting template. And that turned into our family bylaws, right? Open and honest communication, and we go down that, and that's just evolved. And for me,
I would love to bring, that's one thing that we should that's one thing that we need to do next week is grab 2020s. Because we just layer them on top of each other. And so we wrote it down and we signed it when we were dating. And that's a funny thing that when you and I we met at the end of August. We started dating at September. July. Oh, at the end of July? Yeah, no, because you missed my birthday. Remember, I had that ugly guy cook me dinner, and then he stood me up. And then you cooked me dinner for the rest of my life. But yeah, we started dating in September, and then we started the new year writing down.
Yeah, you forced me to.
Yeah, I forced you to, because I was I was big into.
I was also 283 pounds.
Yeah. Yep. And I was making no money in real estate at that time, you know? And so
Turn that around real quick.
yeah. So it was like, those were, I would love to bring that because I would love to just share, like, there wasn't a PDF that we downloaded. There wasn't anybody that we followed. As you and I just sat down and said, this is what we want our life to look like together. And let's do it, you know? And I think last year when we were going through the thick of it, when it came down to like the estrangement with my family and all the stuff that we were going
stealing
through,
money from the company,
people stealing money from the company, people that we had loved and poured time into, turning around, deciding that we were awful people. Like, it was just thing after thing after thing. I remember coming up to you and laughing and telling you, I was like, I'm so happy that as opposed to going through this, fighting each other, you and I are walking through this hand in hand, taking on what we need, like taking on the world together.
Holding hands with one hand, flipping the world off with the other.
Yeah, but at the same time, we also made it into a comedy because all we could do was laugh for some of the things that we were going through. So it was really, I don't think that I would have survived the year in the way that we did, coming out on the other end, feeling successful and happy and whole, if I was walking through that with anybody else. Because what we walked through would have been so easy to turn inwardly and start fighting each other. I am so blessed that you and I have the relationship that we just hunkered in and held hands and plowed through it together and made awful jokes along the way. Like, it was
plowed through it.
Yeah, plowed through it. Why are you looking at me like that? Don't be weird. This is,
Follow
you can cuss, but
you said nasty jokes afterwards, so I was just
how long is that, Colton?
That is 56 minutes.
We're good. So all right, edit that part out. So for all those that are listening, continue to listen, drop a comment, share this episode,
subscribe.
Subscribe. Send us a DM if you want us to talk about something, or there's something that's going on, or you have maybe there's a couple that you know that's doing really cool things, right? Or have an awesome dynamic. Send them our way. Send us a DM. Let's talk about it. Let's get into the thick of it. We do not want this to be a highlight reel of our life. We want this to really be discussing and really going into the really hard problems that people just don't talk about.
Sweet. I like it. I'm here for it. Until next time. Yep.